series, but it was just okay in my opinion. I read it a while back. I half forgot what it's about, and I have about zero desire to read it again. I don't know. I thought the main character, Jude, was kind of boring. I don't know. Also, I just don't like men who are mean. It's just not my type, so I never fell in love with Garden like everyone else did. He has a freaking tail. Don't know, I just didn't warm up to the book as much as everyone else did. I think there's so many more elaborate, crazier worlds out there that are better than the Girlfriends. But I did still enjoy it. I read it way before I ever joined Goodreads, so I never rated it. I think I'd give it a 3-star or something. It's not terrible in no way. It's bad. I just don't think it deserves all the hype it's getting. As I said, hot take. I do want to redeem myself though, so I got the Stolen Air series, and I will be reading that. To be entirely honest, I already listened to the first 4 or 5 hours of the Stolen Air, and as an audiobook, and I just couldn't get through it. I constantly zoned out and was thinking about something else, so we will see. We will see. I'll keep my final judgment of whether or not Ollie-Bike is gonna make it into my future reading list or not. Then this this might be the most controversial take, okay? But I enjoyed It Starts With Us. Now I know this is It Ends With Us. No, wrong. This is It Starts With Us. I enjoyed It Ends With Us, and I would go as far and say that it was one of the not best books I read, but one of the books that was most memorable to me personally. Now, I haven't read It Starts With Us, I just haven't gotten around. I've been meaning to. But I read It Ends With Us when I was a lot younger than now, and I think that is one of the main contributions sounds weird, but like, I didn't understand why she didn't leave when I was young. And by reading It Ends With Us, and, you know, going through what Lily thinks, the excuses she makes in the beginning, and, you know, her thought process, just kind of really helped me understand what it was really like. Because again, I read this probably when I was like 15, max 16, I don't know. So I was still very well in that time of, you know, having to process my parents' divorce that followed and stuff. I don't know, I'm quite the fan of Kalinova. I loved Verity, what can I say? I also liked, I have no idea how it's called in English, like Finding Cinderella, I think it's called in German. I don't know. It's crazy. Anyway, I haven't read a Kalinova book in ages though, probably since I was 16, so I'll eventually have to get through this. I've been meaning to, but I can just never do it. Anyway, yeah, big It Ends With Us fan. And generally, I don't have too big problem with Kalinova. I certainly was fine reading it when I was young. Yeah, I don't know. Just, you know, keep children away from haunting Adeline or something. Like, that might be the real problem. I don't know. Anyway, continuing, the next book that I just kind of didn't understand the hype about is Magnolia Parks. Now, I love the cover. The cover's absolutely stunning. And I have been meaning to read the next few books. I have them. I've been meaning to read them. But I'm unsure. So this is Magnolia Parks by Jess Hastings, and if you've never heard about this book, basically Magnolia Parks is a super rich British London socialite, and she's in a very, very toxic non-relationship, like on and off relationship with BJ Ballantyne, who's a London it boy. And, you know, they kind of go through the motions. Now, again, I've only read the first book. I need to see what's to come. But I had such a hard time getting through this. Like, frankly, I don't think I enjoy Jess Hastings' writing, okay? Like, Magnolia Parks, Magnolia constantly describes what other people are wearing, as in, she sees this brown-haired girl who's wearing a long-sleeved Hollister shirt, lounge underwear, brown trackies. I'm a big lounge fan. Huge. Anyway, you know, I mean, she just describes everything in detail, what people are wearing. And I don't know. to even like BJ, like it made no sense to me why she would be this obsessed with this ratchet ass man child anyway. And then there were just random jumps in the story. I literally I got the ebook copy of this because I genuinely thought there were chapters missing in my book, because she meets this other man and they have like a fake relationship with each other. So she's trying to make BJ jealous or like get away from BJ. I can't really remember, it's been a while. And she kind of starts liking him, and then all of a sudden, from one chapter to the other, she just all of a sudden is driving to BJ and like broke up with the other guy. And I was like, when did that happen? Like literally 2 pages before, she was like, I like this other guy, the new guy. I was like, when did it happen? Like, I legitimately thought there were chapters missing in this book. So I don't know where that went. Anyway, I feel like the ending, so her big problem is that BJ cheated on her like ages ago, which is why they broke up, and since then they've been very toxic. Anyway, she in the end finds out more about that cheating night, and to be honest, throughout the entire book, I kind of thought it would have a different background. I for real thought this poor man got sexually assaulted, or like drugged or whatever, taken advantage of, and you know, he felt really, really bad and never told her. But no, that wasn't what happened. What happened was way different, and you know, just speaks of his shitty, terrible character. Anyway, I didn't really understand where all the teasing towards it went. I don't know. I've heard a lot of reviews say that this deals with very heavy topics, and so far I don't really understand that. Like, all this deals with is getting cheated on, and then giving a very idiotic man too many chances. I don't know. And a very weird, like, young love that is very toxic in my opinion. She's just very unhealthily obsessed with him for no reason. Anyway, but I'm guessing there's going to be more like deeper stuff in the future books, which I will have to get to. But yeah, Magnolia Parks, don't know, I just didn't get the hype. I found it very tedious, very boring, very slow, very bad writing, took me forever. And I didn't really enjoy it, not gonna lie, but yeah, I don't know, I don't have anything else to say. the Seven of the Wings. Seven of the Wings at Night, I think it is. And Thrones of Glass. Like, genuinely, it's just like a competition against different people. I also smelled some a Gold of Silver Flames in there. Because one of the challenges is to like hike up a hill. Like what? Yeah, I don't know. It just felt very, very unsurprising. Like, at no point in this book I was surprised. At no point in this book I thought something else was going to happen. There was no single plot twist. Except, like, the very end, but even that was kind of, like, the second the plot got introduced. I was like, okay, I know what happens. There's not one else there's not much else that can happen. And then I just had problems actually liking the people. I don't know, like, I know so many people love Kai and Peyton, but I don't know, I think it was kind of mostly the writing. I felt like it was very descriptive when it came to feelings and stuff, but then it was lacking a lot of world building. It just never described surroundings, smells, sounds, like everything you need to immerse yourself into the story. It just kind of feels more like a diary in a way. But then, it's a dual pub, so it's her and his pub, and the chapters are only about like 4 to 5 pages each, and like you can see on the side of the book, the markings, because every time the chapter ends, it has like a thing there, so you can see how many that was loud, you can see how many freaking chapters this book has just by the side markings, and I kind of found that really, really annoying. It literally switches every few pages, and I feel like that kind of somehow took me out of the story here. Like, if something was happening to her, it either was wrapped up in 4 pages, or then it switched to his path, and that was wrapped up in like 10 pages. Like, there was no like prolonged problem or prolonged, I don't know, angst, whatever. I feel like the book was trying to be doing everything booked up once and forgot how to decently write stories, immersive stories. I don't know. I can't picture like any of the castle or like the grounds they're having their training on or the competition, because it's just not described. Yeah, I don't know. It's super long as well, so I'm like, why do we not have time to properly do some world building? Anyway, I really want to read the next book, because after all, this is her debut book, if I'm not wrong, so it's like the first book she ever wrote. She's quite young as well, so I'm hoping it's gonna get better, because from here on out, where this book ends, there's at least no other 3 books that can be copied just about like this, so yeah, I'm intrigued to see. But yeah, I've like read this before like a million times, and it just wasn't anything special. It's probably one of the 5 worst books so turned off. I hate the way they talk. Like, they literally have a single brain cell, and all that brain cell is thinking about is about sex. And like, that's the whole character. They don't have any character. Like, I forgot his name. The guy in the first book. Alex Volkov. No, we got it. Like, that man has nothing going for him. Except that he's apparently hot. And rich. He doesn't have a single hobby. He doesn't have a single thing he likes. He doesn't talk. Like, there's nothing going on. Like, it's just, you're just horny. That's it. And even in the next books, he gets described as like really possessive and shit. And I just can't. That's not attractive. Like, I get that some people think that's attractive, but I just don't. Like, it's a red flag for me. Like, nope. And then the other one was like slightly better. The yellow one with Bridget and Reese was only slightly better because it had a little bit of a plotline, random story, except they meet, they fuck some more, and that's it. But again, I just, like, in that story, he's her bodyguard, she's the princess, future queen, and I don't know, I'm always down for good romance, but I can just not feel any, like, love or anything between them, because there just isn't anything happening that would be warranting any love or something, you know? Like, obviously there's, like, instant attraction and whatnot, but they are just, you know, get talking. I don't know what to tell you. But, you know, if the bar was so low for falling in love with a man, like, I would be in love with, like, half the world of men that, like, I've personally interacted with. Because it's not like they do anything cute to get at. Like, there happens anything where the man starts to be, like, super vulnerable and opens up about his past or does something incredibly nice. Or they have, like, deep, meaningful talks, like, nothing. They just have some flirty banter, if at all. Like, Reese just really commands her around, for example. And she's just like, yup, that's doing it for me. I don't know, that's kind of my unpopular opinion about Anna Huang. Not to talk down on anyone's likes or fancies, but I just don't think the writing is really good, and I think it's way too overhyped. Like, none of these men deserve any of this hype, and if we're talking about what young people should read and whatnot, I feel like this is a prime example of books that you should not read when you're under 18, or, like, under 20, let's say, because with 18, like, still, you know, because, like, we are trying to be independent, odd women here, you know, and all these men, at least in the two books I read, are so incredibly toxic and possessive and demanding and commanding. Like, even Reese, okay, Reese and Bridget is a little princess, she's a little queen, and he constantly tells her what to do. He's his bodyguard. Like, imagine if you're the bodyguard of the British queen, you know, she'd have you fired in like 4 seconds if you ever talk in that tone to her. And Bridget's like, oh, hard, I don't know. And like, Reese is just like, is so unprofessional. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? He cannot command her around like that. He is literally her employee. Like, what is going on? And the first book, Alex Volkov, like barges in on her having a photo shoot with friends where she looks a little bit hotter and like destroys that camera from that one guy, I think. And it's just like, fuck off. Seriously. Like, where does all this women depriving BS come from? Like, she's a woman. I don't know why we have to write that. Like, in no way I see a man like storming in on me, like taking photos with my friends, possessive saying what I quirky. Okay, I got super disturbed.